It's open for us to start questions for our presenters.
First, thank you all for your amazing presentations. I'm just going to ask Nema, have you supported us with the link of your presentation, because I couldn't find it? Have you uploaded it in any platform or something?
No, I just used PowerPoint. I designed it by myself.
Okay, may you please support us with a link for your presentation?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you ask it again?
Yes, there was an Excel form, Excel sheet that every presenter supported us with a link for the presentation.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I'm uploading it there. Yes, yeah, you're right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Amak, I can't find the raise hand on my screen, but can I ask a question to start the discussion? Please unmute yourself, Dr. Ayman. Actually,
from reactions in the menu down.
yeah. Okay.
Reactions, and you can use
yes.
raise hand. Yes. You can start. Okay.
Okay, great. So I want to ask Asena about maybe she mentioned about the role of heritage and the virtual architecture, and although she mentioned at the end of her presentation about the lack of complexity or details in the buildings that were modeled. So here, this kind of methodology, which explores the spatial awareness of the user experience in the heritage spaces, I think it's very essential to model, the lack of visual richness of the heritage space, which is tend to be the expectation of the user, seeing the ornaments, the stone that give the mosque this value. I think it's very important to maybe try to continue your research and experience those, not only concerned about the geometrical features of the architecture. So this is my comment or question.
You're totally right. I totally agree, and I can talk about on behalf of my co-writers, I think, in this case. Actually, we are now working on this, enlarging the scope by not only adding those details, because those things are really problematic in Turkey. Like actually, if we went there and take all these photos without permission, it was, of course, possible to use them, but we didn't want to go with that way, and we enlarged the scope of the research. And now, not only by adding the details and ornaments, and also not only texture based, by also modeling every little detail we can get, but also comparing it with the real experience. And also, actually, we are now in a period that we're trying to find someone who has never been in Süleymaniye, because it's quite hard. So what we want to do next is just take this kind of people who've never been in a place. It shouldn't have to be Süleymaniye Mosque, but take them to a place at first, and then experience it with VR, but not only VR, because I think you are already familiar with the technology. We used Oculus, but now we want to use the ones with eye trackers. So not only the mapping, not only the words, because the language can affect it, the pronunciation and everything, the personality can affect what they say. So we also want to map their eye movements to track this memorability, to track this perception. So now we are working in these kind of combinations and try to get data out of them. But thank you for your comment, and I totally agree with you. But it was a quite simple way just to look for the geometry and elements.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any Dr. Mona? Yes.
Okay, my question is for Nema again. Okay, but you mentioned that you have related between the image of the city, right, and the metaverse experience you did. May you please clarify how did you transform these points into the metaverse? How could you relate these points and the perception of the city, image of the city, in transforming it virtually in the immersive world?
Okay. This game is based on New York City, and they built it, but they deleted some parts of the city. For example, as I mentioned, in some streets, they deleted some of the buildings, or they deleted some of the streets, or they merged some of the streets together. So the question for me was that why they did that. Is it just because of efficiency, time efficiency, or cost efficiency, or anything else? Then I figured out with these techniques, they try to make for example, perspective, more longer perspectives, and the scenes attract the users, and based on those, they design their techniques. So I tried to compare it with image of the city from Lynch, and see what happened here. Is it really a technique, or they just removed or deleted some parts by their own desires? Was it enough, or do you have any other?
Okay. Have you thought about digability, for example?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Digability in image of the city, as mentioned, Kevin Lynch, there was a term called digability.
Yes. No, just for the nodes and patches, for this research, for this stage, I just used nodes and patches, and not the other aspects of the image of the city. And I searched on forums of this. It's made by Ubisoft company, and I visited the forums that some people who are living in New York mentioned that we understood that they deleted this part. So I think it's a big bug for this company that they deleted. I agree that these techniques are creative, but they are not scientific. So we have to work on it. I think my work is a little bit similar with Asana professor's work. Not their scales are not same, but I think we can immerse them together to see which part of a city should stay in the game, and delete which part of the city. Or about the buildings also, I last year I worked on research related to the place identity. What's the identity of a place? How I understand, for example, I worked on our campus, Tashkishla campus, to see, do most of the people know Tashkishla with the trees, or with the facade, or with trees that we have in the courtyard, or with what? That then I figured out that every person's approach and perspective is different. For example, some of my friends said, I just know Tashkishla with the cats. which is not architectural element.
Also, cats
So-
can differ, Nima. Which cat?
They said we know Tashkashla with the cats.
Yeah.
Why you deleted the cats? Cats were one of the important elements for those people. So I want to continue this research to see which which architectural elements are important and should be stay in the metaverses.
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, Nima was one of our respondents, and he also counted everything in the second 1 minute session. Maybe I can ask him, why did you count everything after 10 minutes? Like
Maybe
they say when someone's telling you that you only have 1 minute in a place, and why did you start counting everything just immediately?
I think my answers were biased based on my research, because I know that you deleted some parts, and I wanted to see which parts you deleted. I didn't participated in your research based on a person who don't have any idea or background on this research. But when I enter to a place, I mostly try to understand what we have in the place, and I will count the number of the things, how many similar things we have, how many dissimilar things or objects, and then I compare them together. I think it's totally personal based on the lifestyles. For example, my lifestyle, or my nationality, my language, all of these aspects are related to this.
I
Okay.
may ask a question, and
Yes,
maybe
yes.
to Ravan, if I'm pronouncing it right, if she's here, or I think. Hi, Ravan. Perfect presentation. Thank you. Actually, for Ravan and Nima's points, I just want to say that we feel you and we stand with you. So I just want to mention it. It's a personal thing. And I just watched your presentation with the chills, and it's Ravan, I'm just talking to you. And it is the first time actually I've ever seen such an, how can I say, I cannot find the right word, but I can say honorable way to use VR, and also with covering everyone, starting from children and focusing with different ages. And I think it's a very long way to get to everyone. So for further studies, what are the plans? What are the 2-year plans, 5-year plans? Do you have anything in your mind for those kind of research, to expand this research to get to much more people as much as possible?
Yes, yes. Like university's School of Architecture application to our theoretical courses, maybe history as a course in our universities. It's a very interesting question. It's for Dr. Heba, by the way. Dr. Heba.
Yeah, but since
yes,
Rawan made
Heba, yes,
the
you
big
can
part of
share
it.
an answer. Please.
Go ahead, Rawan, you can.
Rawan can start. Okay. Okay.
First of all, thank you very much for your heartwarming comments. That felt so great to hear that. Thank you. Well, technically, what we did about considering the more immersive approach, the virtual reality approach, was very theoretical. We were really hoping that we would be able to implement them or have an actual data on the results. Though we have data on how physical models did affect children, but we don't have data on how VR could affect children in teaching history. We hope in the future that, in my opinion, of course, I'm sure Dr. Hiba has more to add about this. We hope in the future that we could actually implement this and see where we can go with using virtual reality in order to develop the system in Lebanon, because our system has been stuck the same way for many years, since the 1990s. Dr. Hiba, would you like to add something, please?
Yeah, actually, Asena, the idea of this project was directly after the Beirut blast, where we were looking more into projects directly implemented on the field with the youth, with the kids. So maybe with this conference, we tried to theoretically examine and analyze the outcome of this workshop. It was a 7-month actually project, but definitely we are interested to see later on the interaction between the stories of the places, the history of the places, and the built environment. And this is also to Nima, when you are looking at, it's very interesting what you are doing about the gaming and the urban design aspect, but maybe when architecture or urban design is linked to the narrative of the place, this will give another value, I think. So this is actually what you concluded of, we are not machines, we are human. And I think the history, I think that, I mean, these are all digital tools and technology, but and we need to, I mean, the virtual tools can provide varied means of accessing, viewing, exploring different cities, not only Beirut. We have heritage in Lebanon, in Tyre, in Jbeil, and so we can explore more cities and try to link. Maybe this could be the answer of why our history books in schools are outdated, and we are not agreeing on one history of our at the national level. So this could be also a way to continue our research.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, do we have any other raised hands? Any questions from the floor to our presenters? We have here a message from the conference that we still have access to the networking session if we finish early. I believe it's a privilege. So if we are done here, I'd like to thank you all